Since 2012, gun owners have been under the impression that if we buy and use stabilizing braces, that we were free from the ATF coming and knocking on our doors and ruining our lives forever. That's what we're going to talk about today. Is it looks like the pistol brace ruling is finally dead for everyone. We're going to talk about injunctions, how this all went down, and one very important thing we can all learn from this pistol brace fiasco. Let's go and get into it. Now, since 2012, when Alex Bosco came out with the original pistol brace design, it was approved through the ATF, but the waters have been muddied ever since these things have come out. I mean, there's been some sort of controversy seemingly every couple of years revolved around pistol braces. 2015, they said that if you shouldered this gun right here, then it reclassified it as a rifle. After a 2-year debate with SB Tactical and going back and forth, they reversed their decision. At the end of 2020, there was an open comment period about pistol braces, and 70,000 people wrote in, myself included, and they ended up reversing their decision then because they were going to reclassify them, and it was just a really kind of scummy thing that they were doing at the time. And then 2023 comes along, and January 31st specifically is when they said that, hey, if you own one of these, their new rule states you can do one of 4 things with it. You can destroy the firearm, you can turn it into the ATF, you can put a 16-inch barrel on your PCC or PDW and make it just look absolutely ridiculous, but that would turn it into a rifle, or you can then register it as an SBR. They will forego the $200 tax stamp. Now, there was a 120-day grace period. Now, these dates are really important. So from January 31st to May 31st, there was a bunch of turmoil involved around pistol braces, and rightfully so. And this period was really used to scare people, and so it did. I mean, it freaked people out, but it didn't freak a lot of people out. Now, on the higher estimates, they say 10 to 40 million of these pistol braces exist. On the low end, 3 to 7. I'd say somewhere in the middle. So at very minimum, 10 million to 15 million, somewhere in there, of these pistol braces exist. Do you know how many people actually registered these by May 31st, though? 250,000. That is massive non-compliance. Now, I want to say about 3 days or 2 days before May 31st, FPC was the very first company that was able to get an injunction that protected their members only. Maxim Defense followed, GOA followed, I think the NRA eventually got around to it, but all of these injunctions just protected members, and from what I understand, it only protected them if you were to join before a certain date. And there's a judge that ruled on this, Judge O'Connor, that actually blocked anybody else from being protected under the injunction. So he blocked a nationwide injunction. So only if you were a member of these certain groups, like the FPC or the GOA or even Maxim Defense Act customers, were you protected by this pistol brace ruling. That's all until just a day or two ago when Judge Kaczmarek ruled on a federal level that the ATF cannot enforce this pistol brace rule. Now, he goes on to say that he understands that public safety is of big concern, but they cannot enforce this rule because it's not lawful. So this is a huge win. And what you're going to see, I'm sure, is more and more people start buying pistol braces. These things have really kind of dried up. You notice that every manufacturer now, they can't sell these guns. And, a lot of manufacturers depended upon the pistol brace for the majority of their sales. And so I really hope any of those companies can get back to business and, assuming the ones that didn't have to shut down. Because it's a really crappy thing when you're told for the better part of a decade that, hey, you're okay to buy and put these things on, use them, shoulder them, whatever, and then all of a sudden the script gets flipped on everybody that owns these things, and you are threatening us into becoming felons for something we legally purchased. So this is a big win, man. It doesn't only cover the FPC, and I really got to give the FPC credit, man. They came out first and were able to get that injunction to protect their members. And it's really interesting because the ATF director, Steve Dettelbach, actually, I think this was May 3rd, was being questioned. And he said that, oh, well, there's another part of this. If you take the pistol brace, you remove it from the gun, and it's not totally accessible, meaning, you know, the brace and the gun are not in the same safe and can be easily reattached, well, then you're good. So then people are like, well, you don't say that in the actual rule. You know, you only said the 4 things we talked about earlier. I'm so glad to see this go away. Can they reverse this decision? Possibly. But Kalyan Noor actually did a video on this saying that if the ATF wants to appeal it, they're going to have to go through the same court that just ruled it as unlawful. So it's really highly unlikely that they will do that. And, you know, I think this proves a couple of things. First of all, mass noncompliance really does work. So when you back people into a corner that have legally purchased something and you try to tell them that they can't have it, you see how people respond, you know? And I think another thing is I feel bad for people that, you know, everybody that had to be forced into making some kind of decision about something they lawfully purchased. I just think it's a really sleazy, scummy thing to do when the DOJ is weaponized like they have been. It's really disgusting. And we've seen that, you know, firsthand with this pistol brace fiasco. You know, the amount of companies that depend on the pistol brace because of the ATF's approval, you know, and I'm sure companies went out of business or they haven't been able to sell these pistols now because of that. Man, it's really disgusting. And, you know, another thing I think this proves is that the ATF needs to go away. They can't make laws. They make rules to try to circumvent the laws that are there. And then those rules eventually get shot down anyways. They approve things and then they change their mind. It is a sleazy, scummy organization. And I think this entire fiasco has proved a lot of that. I mean, if we didn't already know that, which, you know, a lot of us did, this definitely solidifies that whole theory right there. The ATF is pretty much worthless especially when it comes to anything that involves firearms. And that's where I'm at with it, you know, and now from here, you know, we need to get suppressors, we need to get short barrel rifles, all of this stuff off of the NFA. And it's funny because law-abiding gun owners, we do follow the law. But when we're pushed and pressed on something that is unlawful, that's where you see mass noncompliance. And I'm really happy to see that a federal judge blocked this thing from being enforced. And so if you have one of these pistols or you've been looking at one, you're like, dude, I don't know what to do. I don't want to SBR it and all that kind of stuff. Well, now here you go, man. There's your chance to get pistol braces, and hopefully any company that has been suffering because of this ruling can get back to doing what they do best. There you go, man. That's my opinion of it. Love to hear yours down below. Big thanks to you guys. See you in the next one. And as always, hold them down.